Well, hello you wonderful people, I'm Amy or AWayfaringFrog and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today we are back with another Sims 4 speed build and I'm really excited for this one because we are actually building a house for the K-pop demon hunters. If you haven't seen that film, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It's one of my favourite films right now. I think I've seen it about 5 times, which is a lot considering that it only came out like a few months ago, if that. But anyway, it's lots of fun, and there's a band in that particular film called HUNTR, and the whole storyline is that they are K-pop singers who sing in order to help remove demons from the human world and banish them back to the demon realm. But there isn't really much about that in this particular speed build. We are just building a house of 4 huntrix, but there are 3 members, so they're probably a bit more interesting, I suppose, to learn about insofar as what's applicable to the build. But we have Zoe, who is a rap artist. She's a songwriter as well, and she very cutesy in terms of her style. So when I get to decorating the rooms later, we'll definitely have lots of personality for each of them. And then Mira is more of the choreographer of the 3, and she has a very kind of grungy, kind of sort of light emo style, I guess. I think she's a lot of fun. I imagine she's into heavy metal music. And then Rumi, who is the lead singer, she has, I don't really know how to describe her style. It feels very elegant. They all obviously kind of overlap. They all have similar interests to one another. But when we get to the bedrooms, you'll see what I mean a little bit more. But we are actually building in a world that I haven't built on YouTube before, which is in the world of, oh my gosh, the world that came with City Living. It's completely gone out of my mind right now. I think it's Myshuno. And it's actually a penthouse lot, which is the first pack that we ever got penthouses in. So I thought that would be quite fun. And I was trying to figure out what world would suit them best. And because they're Korean, there just isn't, well, there isn't a Korean world in The Sims 4 at the moment, hopefully. So I figured that a city centre world would be the best fit for them. And that does kind of tie in with the very modern aspect of K-pop demon hunters. So I thought it was a good world to build in. Also, sorry that this video is late. I feel like I should probably address that. I'm still feeling quite iffy, but I can actually speak now without being in a lot of pain. I don't know what's happened, but I've clearly caught something. I don't have like a stuffed up nose or anything. My throat is just super sore. So that's a lot of fun. And on top of that, I had really painful stomach cramps. So yesterday I was just not in the mood to do a voiceover, but I managed to complete the voiceover for today. So I hope you are looking forward to the build. But we are just adding the wallpapers around the exterior of the build at the moment. As you can see, I went with lots of wood accents. This one is from the Business and Hobbies expansion pack, and then we've got kind of a plain black, which I mostly used for the accents, as well as a stone, which I think is from university. I can't quite remember with that one. But I played around with them a lot. I was really trying to make sure that they were cohesive and that each of the 3 colours kind of was around all the sections. Whereas if I just that's why one of the reasons I added that little curved stone portion on the left-hand side, because there was just no visible stone if you were looking at the lot from the front. There was no stone on the left, so it felt a little bit odd. And I added that in. It also ends up being where the elevator goes, so it's actually quite useful because I wasn't really sure where that was going to go. And again, if you're not aware, because it is a penthouse lot, it gets treated like any of the apartments in The Sims 4, and so you need to have an elevator that's kind of the front door. I do add a front door, but any Sims that you have will spawn in front of the elevator instead. So I also made sure to have that room kind of closed off because I've played in penthouses before and had an elevator just open to the whole living space. So whenever the post person came over with my Sims bills, they just walked straight into the house, and started watching TV with my Sims, and it was very weird. So I thought it would make more sense to actually section that off so they don't just wander into the rest of your house. And I am now just sorting out the landscaping because it's a penthouse lot. There isn't really a garden space, but I felt like it looked a bit sad without any greenery. So I went ahead and added lots of very fitted spaces for plants. And I also wanted a pool, which is a little bit weird on a penthouse because that means whoever has the apartment below has a much smaller apartment as a result. But I was keen to add the pool, and because the apartment below doesn't extend, like the interior of it doesn't extend all the way to the right hand side, I couldn't actually put the pool any further over to the right than where it currently is, which really annoyed me and really upset me. At that point I was like, do I just flip the whole build? But I figured it out in the end, and I think it still looks good. I end up having a hot tub back there, so it all works out. But that was a little bit annoying. I didn't realize until it was too late, because it's technically a balcony on the floor below, so if you had a pool intersecting into that, it would look very odd and broken. So I get why The Sims didn't let me have it, but it was upsetting for a while. But now we are just landscaping a little bit, and I did some very different landscaping because I couldn't use terrain paint, and there was a lot of open green spaces that I wasn't really sure what to do with. So I kind of just dotted a few piles of bushes around and interspersed some flowers in there, and then I used this low-lying planted thing. I don't really know what it is, but it's got different segments, like a corner piece, a triangular piece, and then just a square one. And I layered those underneath, like how I would normally layer the sort of mud terrain paint, just to add a bit more texture, I suppose, so it doesn't look so flat. And I think it worked out well. So hopefully you agree. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And if you are keen to grab a hold of this build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery, just under my EAID, AWayfaringFrog. It's also under the hashtag AWayfaringFrog, and the information for that is all in the description down below, as well as information on the lot, like lot value, which is hideously high, because I didn't hold back. Our Huntrix girls deserve the best, so they got very expensive items in their house. But anyhow, I did cut out quite a bit of the landscaping because it was very repetitive, and it took me a while to work out how it kind of looked nice because it was a bit unusual to how I normally do it. So I just included a little bit of that for you to see the process. But I am now inside and we are working on the floor plan. So the elevator is in that curved portion that I mentioned, and you can see there's a little cutout of, or not cut out, there's a room that goes just right next to that entrance. So that's hopefully where any post people who, or post Sims who come along, they'll go in there and stay in there, and hopefully they won't go into the rest of the house because I put a proper door on. And then if you needed to, I guess you could lock the door, but it should be fine. And I wanted to have a really fun open space upstairs. It was a bit annoying because it made putting the bedrooms in a little bit difficult because I just cut out a ridiculous amount of space in the whole house by having this open portion, but it just felt so elegant and so like rich. And I feel like Huntrix are so successful that they needed it. And as a result as well, there's a gym in this house, and it's actually 2 rooms where the bed is just next to these stairs, as you can see. To the right of that, those 2 extra rooms are a gym. They're both a gym. You walk into like one part of it and then you have to go through an archway into the rest of the gym. So a little bit weird, but hey, I fit the gym. That was one of the main things that I wanted to include in this house, because I feel like K-pop stars have to do quite a lot of gym activity in order to keep up with all of the dancing that they do. I'm guessing, but I assume K-pop stars are very, very fit, because I don't understand how they dance around and sing simultaneously as much as they do, because it looks like real hard work. But I thought a gym would make sense in that. And now just adding some windows on, since I've got the floor plan sorted, so it makes sense to go around and include those. And this sliding door, which came in the anniversary event at the beginning of 2025, it's a little bit too short for medium wall height, so I ended up using the spa day window to just slot above it, and then that makes it the perfect height to go alongside the full standing windows. And I also used a lot of glass walls in this build, as you may have already noticed, which after the last build I did with glass walls, where I tried to do a cabin in the woods and I really wanted the glass walls to go all the way up to the gabled roof, and it was so annoying. But in a modern build, I've learned that they're actually really useful and I quite like working with them again. So I think I'll probably just step away from the rustic themed builds when it comes to glass walls and just focus on modern ones, because I think they really shine in this kind of a build, and definitely not a rustic one. There's just too many limitations in the build mechanics of The Sims 4 to really achieve that full glass wall of like an A-frame cabin. It's too hard and too annoying, and I don't know, maybe some people have achieved it. I could maybe try again once I've recovered from that initial attempt, because that really did frustrate me. But anyway, we are back outside just sorting out the garden, and I cut quite a bit of this out because there was so much of me just placing things down, moving them, changing the item, and it took so long for me to work out the layout because it's such a big space that I wasn't certain how I wanted to put things down initially. But there is the little hot tub section that I mentioned at the back here, just to help fill up space, and I made it very built in, so it's got its own little roof, although I do use fence pieces to kind of create a bit of an arbor, so it's not actually classed as being inside for The Sims. So if it's raining, they might be a little bit sad, but they're in a hot tub looking over the entirety of San Myshuno, so I don't think they'll be that sad. It's fine. And then I just included a few little extra details in this particular space, and of course you've got the 3 little sun lounges just next to that for each of the 3 members. I also added cute themed floaties into the pool, so I thought Zoe could have the whale themed one, which is like pastel blue with polka dots, which came from Island Living, and then Rumi and Mira both have one which is from For Rent, I believe. There's like a pale purple sparkly swatch and then just a pink swatch, which I felt like suited them very well. And now jumping to the interior, we are just decorating the kitchen here, and I used the Dream Home Decorator counters for the first time in quite a while. I really do like them. I loved them when they first came out, but I just have a bad Okay, so my throat decided it didn't want to work there, but I just have a bad habit of not using them very often. I think we've just got so many more nicer kitchen counters since, and I just always gravitate to the newer items, I guess because they're new. And I do feel like the Sims team have definitely been getting better. And also just the fact that CC creators are making kits, they're so good. So I think I just gravitate towards the newer items more, but I do try and use things that I don't use very often occasionally. So the Dream Home Decorator cabinets came in here, and I just added a little extra feature on the end of it where the bar space is, using the eco lifestyle slats. I really like those. I think they're such a nice feature for a modern house. And then the dining space, I used just this amazing rug. I love this one. I also used it in Rumi's room, which is the one on the top floor. She gets the biggest room because she is the lead singer, and she's also part demon, so you can't be mean to her because she'll be mean back. And now just under the stairs, I thought originally I was thinking of having like a little plant space under the stairs and putting some nice little greenery, but I ended up not liking it, so I completely cut that out of the speed build, and instead I had a little book nook. So just a few little shelves, again from Dream Home Decorator, since we had the cabinets in here already. The wood swatches matched perfectly, and it was a nice space to add in some clutter. And because the Huntrix girls are all very kind of cutesy, I have added lots of cute decor around, so even though it looks very modern and sophisticated in here, I really wanted to bring their personalities into the whole space. So you'll see lots of cute plushies on a lot of the bookshelves and things, and I thought that was loads of fun, so I hope you like it too. And also, I guess it's a little nod to the really adorable tiger, which I think is actually a traditional like tiger that's in a lot of artwork from years and years and years ago. It's very historic for Korea, but there is a cute tiger in that film, and it's a little cute demon, and it has a little friend crow who has 3 eyes and a top hat. They're really cute. If you haven't seen the film, really, go watch it. It's so much fun. I really love it. But anyway, we are just adding a bit of decor into the kitchen here. I wanted a couple of appliances as well, so I went with the hot pot and then the waffle maker because they felt like things that the Huntrix girls would probably use. And then just adding a few bits of decor onto the walls around this space. And I've also settled on a wallpaper around the whole house because, again, that took me a while. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't too overshadowing. Like, too much wallpaper I think would have restricted me a lot in decorating, so I just included some wooden accents alongside a lot of just a plain white, and then I brought in most of the color through the furniture. But into the living space, we're using the Refined Living Kit sofa set again. I'm sorry I use it so much, but it's so good. Like I said, the newer stuff I always gravitate towards, and CC creator stuff I really gravitate towards because it's so good. And I'm also using the Modern Luxe kit cushions on these, which, even though that's not a CC creator kit, that is a CC collaboration kit. So I can't for the life of me remember the creator who made those. I'm not actually certain if they're a CC creator, to be fair, so I might have misspoke there, but they collaborated with the Sims team to create these items, but the Sims team created them, whereas with the sleek bathroom kit and the refined living kit, the CC creators actually made the items and everything to do with those. So you should definitely look into using their creator codes if you are thinking of buying any of those kits, because that will help the original creator actually earn a bit of a commission. So it's not a discount to you, but it does help support these creators. And I think that's really important, because if the Sims team came to me, which I'm sure they never would, but if they did and said, would you like to do something for the Sims and we'll pay you nothing, I'd say yes. I'd absolutely say yes. Why wouldn't I? But getting paid nothing, or at least very little, I have no idea how much these creators get paid, but I imagine it's not a huge amount, and they don't get a commission, I don't think. So they probably said yes, because of course you would, it's your favorite game, but I think they definitely deserve more support than they maybe get. So yeah, definitely look into using their creator codes, I think, if you are going to buy a kit that is made by one of those creators. I think it's a really nice way to help support them, and it's a really easy way to do it. But anyway, that was a big old rant that came out of nowhere. We are just adding all of those cute little decorations I mentioned though to the living room shelves, so lots of cute plushies. And now we are moving into an actual bedroom for one of the members, and this one is going to be for Mira. So as I mentioned, she feels very kind of punk rocky, very slightly emo scene. I don't really know how to describe her, but she's very fun, and I think she's a great character. And I wanted to include lots of pink, partly because her hair is pink, but also I feel like she has a lot of vibrancy to her personality. So I wanted to use loads of vibrant colors in her room as a result. And so these Grange Mudroom Kit cabinets, which are perfect, and I used them in all of the bedrooms. They had this really nice bright pinky swatch, and then this love-struck bed combined with it really well. I also added this little piece of artwork above the bed, and that helped tie in a lot of blue tones too. So I made sure to bring those across into lots of the rooms. So it wasn't just all pink, it was just vibrant. And because Mira is the choreographer, I wasn't really sure what to put in her room in terms of skill building, so I went ahead and just added some musical instruments. In the rest of the house, I think both outside and inside, I've used the invisible dance floor that comes in the Party Essentials kit, because I didn't want it to look like a rug. I just wanted there to be a space for the Sims, or for Huntrix, to be able to practice dancing. But there just wasn't a good space to put an actual dedicated dance floor, so I just put the invisible one on a few of the spaces. And so Mira can always go out and practice her routines there, but otherwise I thought a keyboard and a guitar would make sense. And this is where I brought in a lot more of that blue through this really nice paranormal stuff wallpaper. I really think it helps tie in the space. And then just adding a few more trinkets here and there. And I forgot for this room initially, but the little plant that comes from Little Simsy's Comfy Gamer kit, which has all of the little plant pot faces on, and there's a couple of blank ones too. I really wanted to make sure that each of the members had their own version of that. So I do come back a bit later because, as I said, I forgot while I was decorating this room, but I made sure to include that in each of the Huntrix's rooms. So I thought that was fun. I used the one that looks like that kind of purpley, almost like a mousy or mole void critter. That probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but you'll see it later. I'll point it out. Hopefully I don't talk over it and I actually do point it out. But anyhow, we are just sorting out a bit more of the decor in here, and I thought these Dream Home Decorator boxes really help bring in more of that blue, and I just think it's a really cute room. I do like Mira's room. And I used this fluffy chair. You know how I was saying earlier that I often gravitate towards new things and forget about old ones? Well, this fluffy chair I've never used. I doubt it, at least. So I finally used it and I think it works so well. But now into the office. This is mostly inspired for Zoe because she is well, they all write the music, but she's the bigger songwriter, so I felt like this was mostly her space. But any of the Huntrix girls can go ahead and use this office, of course. I'm sure Zoe wouldn't mind sharing, but I was thinking mostly of her while I was decorating it. So there's lots of cutesy things, lots of pink. I did put another one of those little Simsy plants that I mentioned, but just in his monkey swatch. The one that I end up giving to Zoe is different. I can't quite remember which one now. And I just added lots of cute clutter in here, which was made so much more easy with Little Simsy's kit. It really is one of my favorites. So I used the whole kit basically to add everything onto this desk, which is actually a dining table, but because it's such a long skinny room, I really felt like having a big desk would look a lot better in here. So I went ahead and just grabbed that. It's the dining room that was added in a base game update quite a long time ago now, but it's actually a CC creator table, so it's kind of nice. And again, it's one of my favorite tables, probably because a CC creator made it. Sorry, Sims team, but something about CC creators, they are just so good at what they do. Anyhow, just finishing off a few last touches of decor. I wanted to bring in a few blues as well, just, I don't know, I guess pride flag stuff, and also just baby pink and baby blue. Feel like they really fit cutesy personality themes. So as Zoe is the cutesy one, I figured it would work well in here. But if you are enjoying the video, be sure to hit that like button. It really does help the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already and enable notifications so you'll know when I next upload a video. I'm really excited because as of doing this voiceover, it is this week, so the Thursday coming, it's going to be the release for that new expansion pack, which I keep forgetting the name of, but it's like the kids camp one. So I've got an idea of a build for that. It's not really going to be kids camp related. I was more thinking something inspired for the career Let's Plays, the career inspired builds that I've been doing. So hopefully you'll look forward to that. But I'm quite excited. I wouldn't say I'm massively thrilled about that expansion pack. I think it looks fine. I think it looks fun. The gameplay definitely looks fun. But the build stuff, I'm very so-so about. Anyhow, moving on, we are now in Zoe's bedroom. So again, the cutesy member. So I gave her a lot of stuff from the Pastel Pop kit, and it just felt perfect. It's very colourful in here, and I really like this room. I also use this base game wallpaper, which I don't use very often. I do like it, but it's just not one I find myself gravitating towards, but it just felt really appropriate in here. And then I brought in these high school years curtains just to tie in a bit more of the green from the bed and things. There's also these tiny living pictures of cupcakes, not a limited pack build, if you hadn't noticed by this point. I am sorry about that. If you don't have a ridiculous number of packs like I do, I clearly have a bad time holding back whenever there's a new pack released. But I love The Sims. I think it's so much fun building in here. So that's my justification for spending way too much money on it. But anyhow, if you don't have all of the packs, I do apologize, but do let me know in the comments below if you'd ever like to see limited pack building. I do have a few videos of that on the channel where I've made a starter home or two just in different worlds using certain packs, which I do find quite fun, but I also find starter homes are way more of a challenge than they are just fun decorating. Also, I added that little plant pot in that I mentioned, and here's that one on this little bookshelf for Zoe. So she's got the Yama-chan plant pot, and then the void critter is Mira's, and then there was one of the My Sims I end up using in Rumi's bedroom. She has like a purple tone to her, and I think she's wearing shades, which looked very cool and very roomy. So that's what I go ahead and add in quite a bit later. I'm just cluttering up this bookshelf. I've forgotten what I was talking about before this bookshelf now. I got so excited about the plants that I mentioned. Limited pack builds, yes, let me know in the comments. I would love to get your feedback on what you'd like to see on the channel. But I'm just adding lots of cute little clutter, loads of plushies and things, and I find this bookshelf is so pretty, but like a lot of things in The Sims 4, it doesn't have enough slots to it, so I had to alt place most of these. As you can see, I kind of combined some of the bookshelf pieces, so your Sims won't be able to access those bookshelves because they're alt placed, but because they're on a bookshelf, it shouldn't be an issue, if that makes sense. Basically, if you ever alt place something, the Sims struggle to use it because it's technically out of reach for them because it's not slotted onto an actual surface. But if it's slotted to, or if it's alt placed on top of something that they can use, then they can still use the thing it's alt placed on top of generally. I think that doesn't quite work for kitchen counters. I think I've alt placed a few things in the ones from Snowy Escape before because they have open shelves, and I swear it meant that my Sims couldn't cook. So I'm not certain about the usability of some of the items. But anyway, the bookshelf works. This is a fully play-tested build. I always do play-test my builds, except for the occasional time, which I will have mentioned in my video. So sorry, but sometimes I'm lazy. Most times I'm lazy, actually. But this one is play tested, so everything does work that I play tested. Anyhow, moving upstairs. This is the only bathroom I put on camera, actually. There are several. There's also a sauna and the gym that I mentioned, but because that's a lot of bathrooms and it's already quite a long video, I only showed Rumi's bathroom on camera, which is the one we're doing now. It's the biggest, and it felt like, I don't know, I had the most fun decorating this, I suppose, probably partly because it was so big, there was plenty of space to achieve what I wanted. So I kept this one on camera, but we'll do a little tour at the end of the video and we can go through and take a look at the other bathrooms because they're both very themed, again, to Mira and Zoe, respectively. And I used quite a lot of the sleek bathroom kit in here, like I always do, but you may notice that I've only used the shower and some of the clutter from there because I was good and I tried something different. So I included this sink, which is from Spa Day, the bathtub is from Dream Home Decorator, and then the toilet is actually from Snowy Escape. So it's a big mishmash of different packs, but I really love this bath from I just said it, Dream Home Decorator, but ever since the sleek bathroom kit came out, I've just not really been using it that much, but it's probably my favorite bath, unless you want gold accents to the faucets and things, I suppose. It does only come in silver, but it's such a nice modern looking bathtub. I really do like it. So I made sure to use that here in aid of doing something different for once and not just using the sleek bathroom kit absolutely everywhere. But I did use a lot of the clutter from that, as I mentioned, and just adding a few candles in and things. It feels like a nice cozy space. And I did use the tiling from that kit still. Sorry, I can't help myself. I managed to not use a lot of the stuff, but the tiling has to go in. I used it in the pool as well as the kitchen, so it's already been used quite a lot. But now into the bedroom for Rumi, and it is the biggest one, as I mentioned. It's also on the top floor, so she's got access to her own private balcony, but of course I'm sure Zoe and Mira will come and hang out up here as well, so that wouldn't be a problem. But I wanted to have a really big statement piece for her bed here, just because it's such a large room. It felt like it would be nice to have a really big statement in it. So I went ahead and used the canopies, which come from the high school years expansion pack, and then I kind of added a headboard using the sleek bathroom kit shelfie pieces. And there are a few things in here that end up changing. So the little ottoman that's at the end of the bed and the side tables disappear, and I switch them out later. I think I was just really struggling with the color scheme for a while, and I realized that part of the issue was just that they were so pale, and then I kept using black accents everywhere else for the darker wood tone. And yeah, those side tables had to go. So I end up switching them out, but I think it looks a lot better as a result. So hopefully you enjoy it at the end and you're not looking at them right now thinking they're perfect, please don't change them. Because that's how I felt for a while until I changed them, and then I promise it's better, hopefully. But I am just adding in a little bit of decor. It is quite just a big open space, which I think is fine. It's such a big house. I felt like it didn't really need lots of clutter absolutely everywhere. It's almost like it would look messy if there was more clutter in there, because the room's so big, it just doesn't need it. Rumi's got everything that she needs in here. And for skill building purposes, I included flower arranging for her because I wasn't actually certain what else to do. She's also got a guitar, as in the film she does use a guitar quite a lot, but the bonsai tree for flower arranging is actually just outside of her bedroom in kind of the hallway, or where the stairway comes up to. And now decorating the shelf unit, there is that final plant pot that I mentioned, which is from the Comfy Gamer kit. So that one's themed for Rumi. And I also added another piece for the headboard to the bed. As I mentioned, it needed to be a big statement piece and it just wasn't quite right. And then I came across that piece, which is from My Wedding Stories. It's meant to be kind of a backdrop to a wedding arch, but I thought it was a really nice piece as a headboard. So I went ahead and included that, and it tied in really well with the rug that I've got in here, which is the same one that I used in the dining room, but it's so good. So I had to use it again. I'm really sorry. But we are coming to the end of the speed build portion of the video, so I'll jump into the game and give you a bit of a live tour of the whole build, since there was quite a lot not on camera, like the gym and the rest of the bathrooms. So I'll see you in a second. So welcome back. Here is the completed build, and you'll have to excuse the camera because it sucks up here. But it's very modern, as you can see. It overlooks such a cool part of San Myshuno, so it felt perfect for Huntrix. But if we start outside, I'm gonna have to take the roof away because otherwise it's gonna jump even more. But this is that front door area I mentioned, which your Sims won't spawn onto, but it just seemed like a nice space for them to exit from the house and go around to the garden. And there is of course a back door as well. But they can come around here. There's a little kind of fire pit. There's that pool I mentioned, and as you can see, this is why I couldn't have it any further over, because that would just clip straight into there. They've also got their sun lounges, they've got an occasional piece of a little sports equipment, and then this really nice little covered portion for the hot tub. And here are the themed pool floaties that I mentioned, so there's Mira's, Rumi's, and Zoe's. And then back here, there's the sliding door into the house, as well as a little barbecue area and a nice dining table. And then inside, if we start off where they actually spawn into, this is the elevator here, which is just in this kind of decorative portion. So it was perfect to put the elevator there, to be honest. But I just used a few pieces from the Grange mudroom kit because they just felt really nice and modern and helped fill in the space. And then there's the entryway to the kind of quote unquote front door. And then just opposite that elevator room, you've got the living space, which is very cutesy. And I just sized up this TV from the Modern Luxe kit. You've also got the kitchen over here and this really nice open plan space. And I added a little artist item here. So I figured that Zoe would probably do some artwork on there. And then the dining table, I thought a cute hot pot would be nice. And of course, there's that little reading nook under the stairs I mentioned. And then through these doors, there is that office space mostly inspired for Zoe that I mentioned, which is very cute and cozy, and you can look out at the city from here while you're doing your work, which is pretty cool. And then for the bedrooms, Mira's room is downstairs, so that's just through these double doors off the living room, and there's kind of a little entry space into her room. And then her bed space is very nice and purple, which I thought was a lot of fun, with these splashes of kind of the aqua teal tone going on. And she's got her vanity table, and then back into this little entry section. This is where her bathroom is, which is again very deepish purple and this kind of aqua teal color tone going on, which I thought looked really nice. And then heading upstairs, this is where I cut out quite a lot of the floor space because I just thought it was so cool to have this full-length window here, and so you could see down into the living space. And then there's also a little games table here just to add a bit into the actual room itself, otherwise it would be very empty. There's also another book nook space under here, as well as some bookshelves. And then outside you can get to the balcony from here, and that also leads straight downstairs outside, and there's a ping pong table and a little bench for your Sims. And then into these double doors is Zoe's bedroom, so very pastel toned, which is very cute. She's got her little dressing nook through here, and of course her bookshelf full of all of her notebooks that she puts in all of her different ideas for songwriting in. And then she's also got her own personal balcony, so I added a yoga mat and a little piece of workout equipment. And then her bathroom, very long and skinny, so I'll just take the walls away, but it's very pastel toned. I really thought this rainbow rug was so cute. And then she's got plenty of storage space as well, and I used similar items to what I had in Rumi's room. And then through this glass door is the gym space, which is very simple. I didn't quite manage to get 3 of every item, so I just settled for 2, but there's some weights here, there's some running machines, lots of cute clutter, and then there's these workout machines here alongside a little bit of music, so they can work out and again, look at the beautiful view. And then opposite where Zoe's room and the gym is just that little spa that I mentioned, or sorry, the sauna. So it's very simple. And then upstairs is kind of the master suite area. So this is all roomies, and here's another one of those invisible dance floors that I mentioned. I actually forgot to show that down here. It's just in the middle of the space where this blank floor is, so you can't see it in live mode. If you go into build mode, it's much more visible. I say that, you can still barely see it. But if you click on it, it's got the same interface as any other dance floor. And because they're K-pop stars, I just really wanted to make sure to include a couple. And then through these double doors, you'll get to Rumi's bathroom, which is nice and spacious. I used this bizarre rug just for the color scheme more than anything, but I think it works quite well. And then her bedroom has a little nook over here to do some reading. She's got her statement piece bed, which I think looks really cool. And then through here is kind of her dressing space, where she'll store all of her outfits for the various songs that they will be performing. And then outside, she's got her personal balcony here. And that's the full build. Don't you just love the camera on The Sims 4? It's so frustrating. But I really hope you have enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and enable notifications so you'll know when I next upload a video. I'll leave you with the screenshots for now, but hopefully I'll see you next time, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye for now!